Hello, period 3. This week we are going to work with triangles some more and try to find the angles inside the triangle, angle measures. So just like the previous weeks, we'll do notes today, we'll practice tomorrow and Thursday, okay? Okay, pull up your notes, fill these in as we go, and then you will use these notes for your assignment for Wednesday and Thursday. You're going to do half the assignment on Wednesday, half the assignment on Thursday, and then submit it all in one. Your assignment for Wednesday, Thursday, you'll complete the box page and submit it on Thursday after you complete half each day. Okay. The sum of the angle measures of a triangle must be, you guys should know this, all three angles must add up to 180 degrees. Inside the triangle, all three angles must be exactly 180 degrees. So if you see the example below, we've got the x degree plus the y degree plus the z degree equals 180 degrees. Okay. For A and B, we're going to find the value of x, show your work, and classify each triangle. Some of you are still submitting your assignments without work shown. Please submit with your work shown, okay? Classifying the triangle, obviously we did that in previous weeks. So on letter A, we know that all three must add up to 180 degrees. So I know that one angle is 50 degrees. One angle is 28 degrees. We're unsure of the x, but all three need to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so we're going to solve this equation like we would any other by combining like terms. We can add this together. 50 plus 28 gives me 78 plus some unknown number gives me 180. And then do the inverse operation, subtract 78 from both sides to solve for x. And we'll get 102 when we subtract, okay? Which means that x is 102 degrees up here. Okay, which makes sense. It is opening up, it's obtuse. Again, if you want to double check, which I suggest you do, and I'm fine if you're using a calculator, do 102 plus 50 plus 28 and just make sure it adds up to 180, which it does. We're good. Okay, so my first answer, x is 102 degrees. It also says classify each triangle. Okay, I already said that since x was 102 degrees, it was greater than 90 degrees, which means this is an obtuse triangle. So classify it by its angle. Since one is greater than 90, it's obtuse. And then we're also going to classify it by its sides like we did last week. So there are no tick marks, which means that all angles are different lengths, which makes this a scalene triangle. Okay, letter B. We see this right angle, which means that is 90 degrees. We have the one up here, which is 45 degrees, and then we have an unknown. All three need to equal 180 degrees. Add what we do know, 90 and 45 give me 135. Plus some unknown gives me 180, and do the inverse, subtract 135 from both sides to solve. So x is 45 degrees. Okay, at any time you can pause the video, work ahead, and then unpause and make sure you're doing this correct, okay? So x is 45 degrees. We have the little square in the bottom, which means this is a right triangle if we identify it as, if we identify the triangle by its angles. And then also remember that we can look at the tick marks. There's a tick mark there, there's a tick mark there, which means two angles are the same measure. Nope, two sides are the same measure, which means it's isosceles. Okay. Okay, so we'll do a few more practice of those on the back. First, it's going to talk about another way to figure out if given angles form a triangle or not. So it says, tell whether a triangle can have the given angle measures. If not, I'm going to highlight this. If it's not, we're going to change the first angle measure from the triangle. Okay, so here's how we're going to do these. The first one, 85 plus 80 plus 25. We're going to tell whether those three angles can form a triangle. Again, it has to equal 180 degrees. So on number one, we need to add 85 plus 80 plus 25. Okay. If you do 85 plus 80 plus 25, again, you can use your calculator, I'm fine with that. You're going to get 190 degrees. So tell whether the triangle can have the given angles. No, this one is not. It's obviously not exactly 180. So this one's a no. If not, change the first angle. So obviously we are 10 degrees angle, 10 degrees over the angle. We need exactly 180 and it's 190. So this 85, we need to subtract 10 off of it to make it 75. Now, if we were to do 75 plus 80 plus 25, then we would have the perfect 180 degrees. So the answer is no, and we can just write change 85 degrees to 75 degrees. Okay, let's add up number two and see if we can get 180 degrees. 76 and 3/10 plus 81 and 7/10 plus 22 degrees. Add those all up and it does equal 180 degrees. So yes, those three angles will form a triangle. Okay. And then number three. Here's some fractions. They're easy enough to change into decimals though. 8 and 25 hundredths plus 60 and 75 hundredths plus 111. If you add those up, you get 180 degrees. So yes, those three angles will form a triangle. Okay. On the back. Okay, here's where I would kind of like you to pause the video. Go ahead and try numbers 4, 5, and 6 and see if you can get the measure for x and then classifying the triangles. You're doing these just like numbers, letters A and B on the front. And let's see what you get. Okay, so for number 4, we've got x plus there's a 50-degree measure and a 65-degree measure, and all three must add up to 180 degrees. If I add 50 and 65, I get 115. And do the inverse to solve for x. And you should get that x is 65 degrees. And again, you can check that by adding all three angles together. And you can check those with a calculator. Okay, so I see 2 tick marks, which means this is going to be an isosceles triangle. And then let's look at the measures. 50 degrees, 65 degrees, and then this one was also 65 degrees. All three angles are less than 90 degrees. So this is an acute triangle. Okay. Number 5, same thing. X plus 25 degrees plus 130 degrees, add all three up, and we need it to equal 180. 25 plus 130 is 155. This should be a plus. And then we'll subtract 155 from both sides to figure out that x. And x is 25 degrees. Okay, so over here is 25 degrees. I see 2 tick marks again, which means this is isosceles triangle. 2 acute angles and 1 obtuse. 1 is greater than 90. So this is going to be an obtuse triangle, an isosceles triangle, and x is 25 degrees. Okay, and the last one. Okay. It looks exactly like a right angle. It probably is a right angle, but let's make sure and not guess. So x plus 37 plus 53. All 3 angles need to add up to 180 degrees. Let's add what we do know. 37 plus 53 is 90. And subtract 90. So yes, it will equal 90 degrees. It is a right triangle. And then I don't see any tick marks along the outside, which means they're all 3 different lengths. So we're going to call this a scalene triangle. Okay, guys, feel free to go back, review, redo the notes. And then, like I said, tomorrow there will be a boxed page on Canvas. You're going to do the front of that box page tomorrow. You're going to turn it over and do the back of the box page on Thursday, and then submit both